Welcome to everybody who is here to see the Global Quilt Connection second webinar, Meet the Teacher event, where we present quilt teachers who are ready and able right now to teach and lecture virtually, live virtually. We welcome quilt guilds from all around the world. So let's go ahead and get started. The first teacher that we will have for you tonight is Esterita Austin.
Hello, I'm Esterita Austin. I'm here in my home studio, ready to bring lectures and workshops to you and your guild or venue. I have various classes and lectures to offer you. The classes range in size from 3 hours to 6 hours to multi-day classes. They're all user-friendly. In the classes, I'll take you through demonstrations of the class techniques. Every class is a totally different technique. For example, one of the classes is animal portraiture. Why not have a portrait of your favorite furry friend, or any animal you choose? Once you get in the swing of it, you may become addicted and the piece will almost build itself. Another class offering is working with paint. Don't be afraid if you're not a painter. We'll start with your skill level and we'll go from there, whether you're a beginner, complete novice, or advanced. It's a surefire way to transfer paint to organza with Misty Fuse, and then you'll be ready to quilt. You can do this. It's not magic. Well, maybe a little bit of magic. Another class in the offering is working with sheer organzas. By overlapping and overlaying the organzas, you'll create new shapes and forms and beautiful shimmering irises or perhaps glass decanters or anything else of your choosing. Some of the classes require kits. The kits will be sent to you after registration and prior to the class. The kits will enable you to have all of the specialty fabrics that you need for the class. When we're in the Zoom classroom, we'll be able to meet one-on-one, so I'll be able to help you individually, as well as meet in small groups in a breakout room. Of course, we'll all meet together for the demonstrations and for the most of the day, and we'll also have a show and tell toward the end where we can see each other's work and applaud our efforts. I hope you'll join me. All of my classes and lectures are on my website and can be adapted for virtual classes. If you have any questions at all or concerns, please email me. I'd be happy to answer any of them. Stay well and stay safe. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, Esterita. Next up, we have Kim Brownell.
Hi, I'm the Wacky Doodle Quilter. My name is Kim Brownell. I'm from the Sacramento area, North Highlands if you see the address on my website, but it is the Sacramento area. I offer 3 lectures, all 3 are in person or virtual at this time. The first lecture is the Wacky Doodle Trunk Show. I call it the wackiest trunk show in the West. I can tell you right now, you will never see anything like it. The second lecture is challenges, what to do. It's the 8-step program for challenges. And my third is yes, you can put it on your quilt. We deal with glues, how to affix all different kinds of things to quilts. I've even put sand on some of my quilts, real sand. I offer several workshops. The first set can be in person or virtual, and we deal with my own pattern, the quilted jigsaw puzzles I call it, and I have several different patterns. You can go to my website and see a couple different more. My second workshop is the fabric blackout. Believe it or not, it is a whole cloth quilt. A lot of fun, easy, fast. You'll be amazed. Next workshop I offer is my refillable notebook workshop. It's based on my own pattern. The next workshop, both in person and virtual, is Textile Fun. We basically make a small postcard quilt and we attach it to a piece of canvas. And then we have a nice display item. You can display a nice piece of jewelry, a Christmas tree ornament, almost anything you can think of. We just have a lot of fun in that class. This class usually follows my Yes, You Can Put It on Your Quilt lecture. The next set of workshops I offer are in person only. They're based on Karen Eckmeyer techniques. And yes, I do have her permission, but only for in-person teaching. That would be Happy Villages from her book, Happy Villages. It's a fun collage technique. Accidental Landscapes. That's from her book, Accidental Landscapes, and it's a fun top stitching technique. And I apologize, I don't have the third one quilt with me. It's hanging at a quilt show that I teach at. It's called Layered Log Cabins. It's a wonky top stitch log cabin technique where you use for the center a small focus piece of fabric. A lot of fun, super easy to do. Again, I am the Wacky Doodle Quilter, Kim Brownell, and I would love to come and lecture in person or virtually for your Quilt Guild.
Thank you, Kim. All right, next up we have Hollis Chatelain.
Hi, my name is Hollis Chatelain, and I'm coming to you from Hillsborough, North Carolina. I've been teaching art-based classes for over 30 years. I've been teaching online for 7 years. So when our world suddenly changed, I didn't have a hard time shifting to Zoom. My goal in using Zoom is to make the experience as close to in-person as possible, whether it be lectures with questions and answers at the end or small hands-on workshops. What I'm really trying to do is to create a sense of community. Right now, I'm offering 4 online lectures and 2 online classes. And my first lecture is called The Relationship Between Drawing and Quilting. I show lots of beautiful quilts in this lecture, and I talk about how the principles of drawing are used in each one of the quilts that I show. My second lecture is called Influences of Africa. This lecture starts with my life in Africa, how I started quilting in 1990, and it travels through my work, showing how I make some of my quilts all the way to the latest quilt that I'm making now. In my third lecture, The Emotion of Color, I talk about how color changes our reactions to art and how color influences us throughout our daily lives. In this lecture, I want you to think about how color has the power to hit us all emotionally. My last lecture is called An Artist's Journey. Over the years, artists grow and change. I talk about how and why our art also evolves over the years. I show images of my quilts and other artists' work to see and follow these different journeys. I'm also offering 2 online classes that individuals can sign up for. In my independent study class, students work on any project they want. We have 5 days of creativity and community with my input through discussions, critiques, and demonstrations. My second class is Drawing 1. My students receive instruction with lots of support in this small hands-on workshop where they not only learn to draw, but they even learn to see the world differently. If you would like me to speak to your guild or you want to take one of my workshops, you can find all of my information on my website. And to know more about my work, you can follow me on Facebook or Instagram. And also, I'd like to express a big thank you to Lyric and Sue. We really appreciate all the work that you've put into this because, wow, it was a lot. And what a great resource you've created for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Hollis. All right, next up we have Sheri Cifaldi-Morrill.
Hi, I'm Sheri from Whole Circle Studio. I'm a designer, pattern publisher, award-winning quilter, and educator. When it's safe to travel, I teach in person around the United States. Since March of 2020, I've been offering live online programs for quilters, guilds, and shops. While I really wish we could be in the same room right now, I found that teaching live from my studio through Zoom is a great way for quilters to learn new skills, stay connected, and have fun. Now more than ever, that's really important. I recognize that the technology may feel a little overwhelming and might feel impersonal, but I can assure you that I'm able to make it super easy and feel like an in-person experience. Let me introduce you to some of what I have to offer. I have 2 presentations that are educational, entertaining, and inspiring. They contain professional photography of my quilts, including close-ups. In addition, I have all of my actual quilts at my side. Topics include concepts, content, and quilts. Be inspired as I share ideas, tips, and how I apply my training and background as a graphic designer to quilt design, quilting, and finishing details. I'm also certified by Aurifil to present Aurifilosophy, a program designed to unlock the mystery of thread and increase your knowledge of uses and tips. Just like being in person, my live online workshops are full of demonstrations and one-on-one attention. We're also sure to engage in a bit of group chit-chat and laughs. Some of my current workshops include Piecing Curves with Confidence. Does the thought of sewing curves give you anxiety? Don't fear the curve. Students will learn all of my tips and tricks to create a fantastic curve while making blocks needed for the picnic petals quilt that I designed. Hawaiian-inspired applique. Kick back, relax, and enjoy this slow stitching workshop. Learn how to prepare and stitch tropical motifs and make a beautiful Hawaiian-inspired quilt. Walk the talk and quilt it. Let's get beyond asking ourselves, how do I quilt this? I share practical strategies for how I decide on a quilting plan that will enhance the design of your quilt tops. We'll review my approach and tips for walking foot quilting. Double friendship knots. Have fun with fabrics and learn how to mix techniques with the double friendship knot quilt, a beautiful, unique alternative to the traditional double wedding ring. We'll combine foundation paper piecing by machine, as well as hand needle turn applique to make this beautiful quilt you can gift to a couple or friend. This is just a basic overview of some of my offerings. Please contact me for detailed information, pricing, and logistics. I love working with guilds, and I'm happy to answer any questions about the technology or my programs. I look forward to hearing from you.
Thank you, Sheri. Next up, we have Meg Cox.
Hello, quilters. I'm Meg Cox, and I'm excited to share what I can offer your guild on Zoom. I'm a departure from a lot of the people who are pitching you today because I'm just doing lectures. But I can promise you that all my lectures are educational, inspirational, and a little bit different. Let me tell you about 4 of them. Number 1. Quilt Journalist Tells All. That's also the name of my popular newsletter. And this is a reporter's eye view of the quilt world, full of emerging trends and the things you need to know. And I update and refresh this all the time, so it will be relevant when I give it to you. Right now, for example, I'm thinking a lot about the state of the quilt economy and what is going to happen with COVID. I love to start this talk with a quiz, so I will be mailing free fabric to your guild members who get the questions right. Number 2, better quilt photos now. Whether your guild members are taking photographs for social media or to enter quilts in contests or for whatever reason, they could be so much better. And in less than 60 minutes, I'm going to give them tons of tips and tricks. This is based on my own research and interviewing professional photographers, but also my own success in getting my quilt photographs in magazines. I promise you this will be lots of inspiration, but also very specific recommendations of tools. Number 3, behind the scenes of the world's greatest quilt museum. This is a PowerPoint I just recently added to my lineup, and it's all about the International Quilt Museum in Lincoln, Nebraska. So come with me into the galleries and the storage spaces. You're going to meet curators and see masterpieces. I will show you how they put together an exhibition and why they collect the quilts that they do. I love being on the board of this museum, and because of that, every penny I make on this talk goes straight to the museum. Cherry on top, every guild that books this lecture, you're going to get a door prize from the museum store. Number 4, making meaning, how quilters celebrate life. So I've written one book on quilting, but I've written 4 books on ritual and celebration. And I happen to believe that quilters have an amazing aptitude for celebrating life. So this too is a very practical lecture. I am going to show you how to create deep rituals, personal, powerful rituals that will add depth and meaning no matter what life throws at you. And so you'll be getting milestone rituals, friendship rituals, healing rituals, pandemic rituals. This is the lecture that is most popular of mine, and this is the lecture people tell me changed their life. So you can find out about these 4 lectures and others at my website, megcox.com. Thank you. And thanks to Sue and Lyric.
Thank you, Meg. Next up, we have Rhonda Denney.
Hey everybody, my name is Rhonda Denney and I am an art quilter, educator, and mentor. I started quilting around 2003 and quickly gravitated to art quilts. I've always enjoyed art as a way to relax and have found the use of pigments in my fiber art allows me to really express myself even more. There are many different techniques and I love how each gives me an opportunity to experiment in the use of fabrics, pigments, and stitching. I call my technique pigment patchwork. The concepts can be used for traditional, modern, or art quilts. I have a real passion for teaching and mentoring because I am so excited about these techniques. I've taught in the United States as well as internationally. I have experience teaching remotely, which comes in handy. And though I prefer teaching in person, thanks to technology, I can come virtually to your guild, group, or shop using the Zoom platform. So that gives us some flexibility. My workshops are designed with a goal of helping people discover their own unique voice. I introduce techniques and then we go on to create a unique piece of fiber art. In the process, attendees add tools to their toolkit for future use. You do not have to be an artist or have any art background. My workshops offer a safe environment for experimenting and having fun while learning new techniques. My website, rhondadenney.com, has more information and pricing and a way to contact me. My lecture and trunk show, Pigment Patchwork, How Did I Get Here?, covers my adventures into quilting and how I developed my unique approach. I also show sample pieces and offer Q&A. Coloring on fabric. I only offer this as a half-day in-person workshop. I bring pigments for attendees to try. Using my patterns, this workshop introduces some of the many different types of pigments one can use on fabric. Sort of like a try so you know what you might want to buy kind of approach. Pigment patchwork, half-day, full-day, or multiple-day workshops. Shorter workshops utilize my patterns so we can dig right into the techniques. The longer workshops can use either my patterns or the attendees' own inspirational photographs. Fabric collage and confetti, half-day, full-day, or multiple-day workshops. We use my patterns in the shorter workshops to jump right into the techniques. The longer workshops can either use my patterns or the attendees' own inspirational photographs. Stitching for dimension, half-day or full-day workshops. My focus is using free motion stitching to add dimension to a design. We use a set of exercises and then a printed panel of one of my designs to practice on during this workshop. All skill levels are welcome. Again, check out my website, rhondadenney.com, for details. Let's schedule some time together for a fun and unique learning experience. We can even design a series of workshops to meet your needs.
Thank you, Rhonda. Next up is Sandy Fitzpatrick.
My name is Sandy Fitzpatrick and I live in Cary, North Carolina. I'm an applique quilt pattern designer. My business is called Hissy Fitz Designs. I'm also a teacher and I've taught nationally for the American Quilter Society, Road to California, and many guilds across the United States. I strive to keep my lectures informative so that you feel as if you have learned something at the end. Why didn't I think of that? It's a very popular lecture. It aims to give you tips and tricks to help with your sewing and quilting adventures. I've gathered a number of ideas and shortcuts as well as some organizational tips to help you save a little time and make your stitching more enjoyable. My lecture on free motion quilting is called Free Motion Fun and Facts. I quilt all of my own quilts on a domestic machine. In this lecture, I talk about needles, threads, and ways of setting up your sewing area to be successful in quilting your own quilts. I have lots of close-up slides of my own quilting to give you some ideas. You will leave this lecture ready to tackle that stack of UFOs that you have been collecting in your closet. I have several classes for you to choose from. Some are 3-hour classes and some are 6-hour classes. If you prefer to choose a 6-hour class but have it on 2 separate days of 3 hours each, we can do that as well. My fusible machine applique classes allow you the opportunity to choose one particular pattern in my collection of Hissy Fits designs for your guild to work on. Or if you want to give your members a little more freedom to make their own choice, they're allowed to choose any of my designs as we all work together. Another class is my applique coasters class called Coasters Galore. Since free motion quilting is my other love, I have both a 3-hour class and a 6-hour class. In the shortened version, I will teach you how to set up your quilting space, and we will practice many different quilting designs on quilt sandwiches. In the 6-hour class, we will expand on those previous quilting designs and add all types of feathers. I have a 2-camera setup so that I can talk to you just as you are seeing me today, and a camera on my demo area. I also have some pre-recorded short videos of stitching at my machine. I look forward to hearing from you and working with your guild. My name is Sandy Fitzpatrick. Have a look at my website, Hissy Fits Designs. Once you have made a decision on what kind of fun we can have together, feel free to contact me by email at sandy@hissyfitsdesigns.com.
Thank you, Sandy. I want to remind all of the people watching this that at globalquiltconnection.com in the event number 2, there is a PDF download of all of the teachers' information in the order that we are working through. And it includes email and website links that you can go straight to the teacher's information. We do ask you, us here at Global Quilt Connection, we don't have individual pricing. We don't have all the details for each teacher. We do ask you to please go to each teacher's website and contact them. Next up, we have Beth Helfter.
Okay, hi. Okay, so that's me right there on what was apparently a very good hair day. My name is Beth Helfter, and I have been a national teacher for about 10 years now. I've taught everywhere from small guilds, which are definitely my favorite, all the way up to AQS shows, and of course, miss being on the road, but I'm so glad and so thankful that I was able to adapt many of my things to virtual. So let me show you what I've got. You may have noticed that on my logo, my tagline is Inspired Designs, Relaxed Attitude, and that definitely describes me. I want to inspire you, but I definitely do not take myself terribly seriously. I want you to be able to come to my lecture and laugh. I want you to be able to come to a class and laugh and learn and leave knowing a new technique, some new tips, and with a project that you cannot wait to finish. I definitely am not modern or traditional. I call myself moditional. I definitely like color, and I'm very scrappy. If I see something in my head, I know I have to get it into fabric, and here's just some examples of some of my favorite patterns that I have developed over the years so you can see my style. I'm the inventor of the accordion sewn half square triangles method. It's a way of making accordion style half square triangles, cutting them apart, and you get infinitely scrappy fabric combinations with no waste. I've written 2 books about this subject, and I have a YouTube video so you can kind of see my style on that too. And most of my classes and lectures do center around this right now, although I do have others too. All of my lectures have been able to be moved into PowerPoint presentations, which is wonderful. I have been able to move some of my workshops into virtual format. These 3 at the top are all accordion sewn. The Cook and Stash is just a really fun day of sewing with our scraps, making this block in 2 different ways. And then coming soon will be another accordion sewn technique class. I was dragged kicking and screaming into virtual I really miss traveling, but I have learned that these things right here, the camaraderie, the individual attention, the live teaching and demos, and an excellent day of sewing really can be done virtually. I was really worried they wouldn't be able to, but I still bring the fun, I promise, and so do the guilds. And that's what I love, is the guilds have embraced this, and we thank you for being here today to learn more and step your toe in it if you haven't yet. Once again, my name is Beth Helfter. I'm a scrap pattern designer, author, and accordion sewn HST's originator. And I would be thrilled to come to your guild virtually since I can't get on a plane anytime soon. Thank you very much to Sue and Lyric for setting this all up. And I can't believe I didn't run out of time.
Good job. You did it. That's amazing. Let's stop your screen share. Next up, we have Natalya Khorover. There you are. Waving your hand helps.
Hi, my name is Natalya Khorover, and I am what you may call a mixed media artist, except that the media I mix is a bit different. My main material is single-use plastic. The plastic shopping bag, which has caused so much havoc on our planet and now has come back with a vengeance during this pandemic. And the plastic packaging, which is shrink-wrapped around so many items that we buy in just a simple visit to the supermarket. So I'm the one who collects all these plastics and uses them for my art. It's my way of keeping them out of the oceans and making a statement about the climate emergency that our world is facing. With plastics, you certainly don't have to worry about frayed edges, but you do need to consider the stretchiness factor. The transformation you can subject them to makes these materials unrecognizable. At times, you have to look real close to figure out what my artwork is made from. Now, about the virtual workshop world that we live in now, taking a workshop while being in your own studio has many advantages. Everything that you need is right there. You don't have to stretch your neck looking over other people's shoulders trying to see what the teacher is demonstrating. It's up close and personal on your computer screen. So here are my workshops. Plastic Nature. Students collect single-use plastic bags and packaging and learn to use it instead of fabric to create nature-inspired artworks. This could be strictly hand-stitching workshop, machine stitching, or a combination of both. Jigsaw Graphics is working with single-use plastic as well, but this time we concentrate on the graphic nature of all the lettering that abounds in plastic packaging. Students can put together puns, quotes, proverbs. It's fun. Stitched Interpretation is a fun brand new workshop where participants learn to channel their favorite well-known artist in fabric and stitch. It's a great way to use up your scraps, learn a few hand stitching techniques, and get a bit of an art education. Think Van Gogh, Matisse, and Monet. Digital Thread is a Photoshop Elements workshop. I teach my favorite techniques for manipulating photos, layering images, and adding graphic elements. If the participants have access to a photo printer, the workshop can be expanded to add printing on fabric and layering images with stitching and mixed media. My lecture is Alternative Stitching Practices. I take you through the many mixed media materials and fabrics that I work with and share my tips and techniques. I teach these workshops over my own Zoom channel, and at the beginning of every workshop, I give a quick overview of some important Zoom features and tips during our time together. I'm able to record the workshop or a lecture and then provide access to it to the participants. Thank you for your time. Thank you to Lyric and Sue. And please visit my website for more details. I look forward to hearing from you soon. artbynatalya.com.
Thank you so much, Natalya. We appreciate it. Next up, we have Judi Kirk.
Hello, I'm Judi Kirk. Welcome to my little corner of Canterbury in England. I'm a qualified quilt judge, and I've been privileged to help judge Best in Show at the UK Festival of Quilts for the last 3 years. I currently offer 3 one-hour talks: what judges are looking for, what makes it modern, and 25 years of tips and tricks. You can read more about these on the talks page of my website. My workshop offerings are quite eclectic and include machine quilting, both free motion and with a walking foot, basic thread painting, plus machine piecing and foundation piecing techniques. All the details, including the all-important pricing, are on my website, judikirk.com. One of the great advantages of live online classes is that everybody gets the best possible view. I have developed a 3-camera system, including close-up cameras and good lighting, so that everyone can sit in my seat and see what I see as I demonstrate. Since travel and accommodation costs are not a factor, 3-hour workshops have become an economic possibility and are proving popular. My 3-hour classes were developed for the AQS Quilt Week shows and were sellouts at Virginia Beach in 2018 and Fort Paducah last year. I only offer live, interactive, online classes and not recorded video classes. I like the interaction with students. I can give immediate answers to questions, see and comment on their work, and I can see if someone is looking puzzled. My classes are limited to 23 so that I can see and have time for everybody. I'm online half an hour before the class is due to start to meet and greet students and can give Zoom help where needed. I have found that a co-host is essential, in this case my husband. He concentrates on switching between the 3 cameras and the tech so that I can concentrate on teaching and my students. Guild hosts can sit back and enjoy the class. Sadly, my proposed teaching and judging trip to AQS Quilt Week in Grand Rapids last month was cancelled due to the coronavirus crisis. But now you can come and join me online for an international quilt experience.
Thank you so much, Judi. Next up, we have Rita Lynne.
Hi, everybody. I'm Rita Lynne. I wanted to share with you an overview of the classes that I teach virtual and online. Check us out over at our website, almostheavenonline.com, where you can learn about me, my patterns, our lectures, classes, and our books. You can also catch us over at Facebook or email me, rita@almostheavenonline.com. I'll see you soon.
So much, Rita. Next, we have Jenny Lyon.
Hi, I'm Jenny Lyon, and I am all about free motion quilting on your domestic machine. So I come to you from Northern California, US, and I'm really excited about the possibilities of virtual lectures and workshops. I call myself the quilt skipper because I take my quilting breaks and I skip around the house in joy. I'm going to share my screen with you. I know many of you think that you can't free motion quilt, and I know that you can. I walk you through that process step by step and get you up and running. So I share some lectures. My first, quilting is a contact sport. I show you that quilters and athletes actually have a lot in common. My journey through the artistic muddle, I explain how I accidentally became an art quilter, and the beauty of the imperfect, where I share how beautiful imperfect work can be. So workshops, my intro workshop, I start at the very beginning and walk you through that process. And even though you might be a little wobbly, you've got some confidence by the end of the day. I also offer two frills workshops, a traditional frills workshop, as well as a modern frills workshop. And my Fabulous Feathers 4 Ways class. I also have 3 project classes, each with a very forgiving technique. With cut work, we make a table topper or scarf, and we just use 2 motifs to create that. Trapunto by machine can add fabulous texture to any genre of your quilt. Start with a square. We start with a large scale print, and we use that as inspiration to create an almost whole cloth mini quilt. Doodle quilting is super fun. I can customize any of these workshops to the needs of your group. I can adjust my timing to the way you would like your workshops to run. And you can find details, pricing, and more workshops at my website, quiltskipper.com. I am the proud author of Ordinary to Extraordinary, where I take an experienced beginner and with a 21-day plan, get you up and quilting your own work. I've been teaching for 14 years at various guilds and shops, as well as the larger venues like Houston or AQS. I keep my classes very lighthearted and encouraging. So, hey, I would love to give you a visit. Give me a holler at quiltskipper.com. I am Jenny Lyon. Thank you.
Thank you, Jenny. Next up, we have Debbie Maddy.
Hello, I'm Debbie Maddy, and I'm coming to you from the great state of Texas, in case you can't tell that already. I am a quilter, a sewer, a quilt pattern designer, a lecturer, a workshop teacher, and my latest passion, and what I'm truly passionate about, is shibori techniques and indigo dyeing. On my website, I have workshops and lectures listed. You can go there and see everything I offer. I have workshops and lectures that are trunk shows for the lecture, and workshops on quilting techniques from traditional to modern to using silken quilts, things like that. I also have a lecture that is my journey to learn the shibori techniques and the indigo dyeing. In case you don't know what shibori is, it is the ancient Japanese techniques to resist the indigo dye on fabric. By resisting the blue dye, you end up with the blue and white fabric, like you can see in the quilt behind me. The quilt behind me is made up of fabrics from all of my lines of fabric with Moda fabrics. I do all the stitching, clamping, all the different kinds of resist. I hand dye in the indigo. I finish out the fabrics, and then I take them to Moda Fabrics. They send my fabrics to Japan, to the mill, to be reproduced, to make commercial fabric for quilters and sewers like you. But in my workshops, I will teach you how to make the fabric. We will go through how to make the vat, and that's what an indigo is. It's called the indigo vat, and I'll teach you how to do that in the beginning. I will teach you some simple techniques for folding, clamping, and then we can go into more detailed techniques of stitching and pulling the fabric. So at the end of the workshop, you will have fabrics that you have done the shibori techniques, and you've dyed it, and you can use it in your quilts or in your artwork, in your clothing. I look forward to hearing from you. My website is debbiemaddy.com. My email is debbie@debbiemaddy.com. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Debbie. Next up, we have Brandy Maslowski.
Hey everyone, I'm Brandy Maslowski, the Quilter on Fire. I'm a quilt teacher, speaker, and judge, and the author of children's picture book, Christie's Quilt. I love to teach quilting and fiber art to every level of quilter, and my workshops and lectures are created to bring you more joy and less overwhelm. Let's take a look at my Zoom portfolio. I have 2 Zoom lectures available. First, it's the trunk show, and my story as a quilter. You'll learn all about my journey and why my business is called Quilter on Fire. Second, it's my most popular lecture called Studio Magnificent. I've had my studio featured in magazines 3 times, so I'll share my tips and tricks to create your special creative space. Now let's hit the workshops. First, I've got 3 patterns available. The first is my brand new pattern called Zen Ocean Waves. You'll learn curved piecing and some strippy improv. Next is my most popular pattern called Glorious and Free. This is the new mini version with the color wash. You'll learn how to do a color wash if you're in the class, but it's actually 50 by 70, the full size, and there's a medium size too. And third is my Black Sheep Block Party. This is a super fun tumbling block technique to eliminate those inset seams. Now let's talk technique workshops. I have 5. First, we have Fiber Art Frenzy. You make the wine bottle bag as your canvas, and you learn 4 to 6 fiber art techniques. Next, my very first fiber art quilt. You learn everything from color to piecing to switching up the design and how to face it. Colorways is by far my most popular class. You make a fiber art piece using up your batik scraps and having super fun time with all those embellishments, and you make your fiber art piece start to finish in a day. Contemporary Crazy Quilted Baby Blanket. No batting, no fuss. Use all your favorite fabrics to make a baby blanket in a day. Freestyle Bargello. This 2-day workshop gets you from fabulous foundation to black on black free motion quilting. And finally, my Zoom Mystery Workshop. This is for all those guilds out there who've never tried Zoom before. It's a short 2-hour workshop where you get to try a super secret surprise and Zoom for the very first time. Now before you go, I just want to say that if quilting was my peanut butter, quilt travel destinations would be my jam. So I know that travel is at a standstill for 2020, but keep an eye on my website for 2021 because fancy things are going to be happening like Italy and France and Japan. I'd love to have you join me. Find out everything you need to know or contact me anytime at quilteronfire.com.
Thank you so much, Brandy. And last, before we take a 5-minute break, will be Cyndi McChesney.
Thank you for this opportunity to introduce myself. I am a quilt teacher of nearly 40 years and an award-winning long-arm quilter. I offer 2 lecture trunk shows. My favorite and most popular is titled Panelpalooza. Through this presentation, I encourage you to take those panels out of your fabric cupboard and turn them into something truly unique. You will have an opportunity to explore the ins and outs of what worked and didn't work quite so well through the quilts I've designed, using a variety of pre-printed panels, and hopefully discover some inspiration along the way. The second is a lecture that encourages quilters to explore the psychology of color and introduces you to color therapy tools as a way to increase and expand the colors you choose for your projects. We'll discuss ways to help you step outside your comfort zone and increase your awareness of why you choose favorite color families and avoid others. In addition to the 2 lecture trunk shows, I offer 3 workshops virtually. Panelpalooza is a design class where I will help you to manage panels, work with the often odd measurements of panel sections, conquer coping strips, and discover design inspiration within your panels to create unique projects and quilts using that variety of panel styles. This workshop is offered as a 5-hour workshop in one day or in 2 sessions of 2.5 hours each, so that students have time to work on their designs and come back with questions or for problem solving in the second session. Color Exercises for Quilters is a 3-hour workshop designed to enhance your ability to understand your color tools, to discover why certain colors work and others are less appealing, to stretch your color muscles, and put your new skills to work creating quilts that wow. Finally, I also offer a Math for Quilters class. Explore math for the creative quilter who wants to know how to quickly and easily figure yardages, enlarge or decrease block sizes, quilts, or other projects, including existing patterns. Guilds may wish to add on my 2-hour drafting workshop to discover how easy it is to draft quilt blocks quickly and easily into a variety of sizes, as well as figuring the best way to economize fabric. I'm happy to customize any of these workshops for your guild or small group. Please visit my website for detailed information or feel free to email me. Thank you for taking time to join all of us here at the Global Quilt Connection today. I can't wait to share my lectures and workshops with you and look forward to hearing from you.
The next teacher up that we have is Lea McComas.
Hello, I'm Lea McComas. You may have seen my pictorial works at major quilt shows, read my articles in Quilting Arts magazine, or seen me on Quilting Arts TV. But now I'm taking it all online for guilds by mixing information from my studies of classical art with practical applications for today's quilters, and just a little bit of humor. My lectures include Pictorial Quilt Primer. For those interested in creating quilts based on photographs, I address the selection and editing of photos, choosing the right fabrics, and principles of design to get the best possible results. Making Faces with Lea McComas looks specifically at portraits, the geometry of faces, and how to create realistic portrait quilts with an overview of my applique and thread painting techniques. Color Theory for Quilters addresses how to choose a color scheme that works, how to fix one that doesn't, and how to manage colors so that bold and bossy play well with the mild and muted colors. Driving in the Dark is about my personal journey. I share my rules of the road that have guided me to success as a quilt artist, teacher, and author. It is my hope that you find inspiration for your own creative journey. Now, let's talk about workshops. I currently offer several classes online for individuals through quiltingdaily.com, and the great folks at Quilting Daily are teaming up with me to make these available as guild events. We set up a virtual classroom just for your guild for a period of 4 weeks. Links or keys to the classroom are sent to students, giving them access to video lessons for the course and a group chat platform. Each week, I assign a few videos and then host a live session to discuss concepts, answer questions, check on your progress. In the week to follow, students will complete their assignments at a time that works for them. Meanwhile, they have access to rewatch the videos as many times as they need to. As an added bonus, Quilting Daily will provide a link to a video trailer that guilds can use to advertise the class. Current classes include applique portrait quilts. I show you how to edit a photo of someone you love, make a pattern, and create a portrait quilt using my applique technique. Beware, once your friends and family see what you can do, everybody's going to want one. Pet portrait memory quilts. Most of us treat our pets like a member of the family, so why not immortalize them in a quilt? Use my applique technique to turn a favorite pet photo into a cherished quilt. And then thread painted portraits. I'll guide you through a series of exercises to develop your skills and stitch individual facial features before bringing it all together and stitching a full face. Follow me step by step, and you too can create a thread-painted portrait. If you want more information, visit my website, LeaMcComas.com, or send an email to Lee@LeaMcComas.com.
Thank you, Lee. Next up, we have Rose Parr.
Welcome to my virtual sewing studio. My name is Rose Parr. You can find me at healthyquilting.com. And I'm really excited tonight to tell you about the presentation that I can bring to your guild. I've made it my mission to work at staying pain-free while continuing to sew for as long as possible. I have combined my studies in home economics with my certifications in ergonomics, fitness, wellness, and nutrition to teach others how to sew smart so they can sew long. I'm happy to accommodate any time zone when it comes to teaching. Quilting shouldn't be a pain in the neck. Sew Smart, the ergonomics of healthy quilting, will help you stay pain-free while sewing. This is a live PowerPoint presentation that runs somewhere between 45 and 60 minutes. One-on-one support is available at no additional charge. This is the only topic that I present. Ergonomics means working comfortably and efficiently. If you've ever been sore after a day of sewing, it's time to figure out why. Is it your cutting technique or the height of your cutting table? Let's make sure you have the right posture, techniques, and stretches so you can work comfortably and efficiently. These stretches were designed for makers. They can be done while your bobbin is loading or while waiting for your iron to reheat. Anytime and any place. They are for all fitness levels, and I am qualified to provide modifications where needed. And don't worry, none of these stretches will have you getting down on the floor. The illustrations featured in this presentation are from my book, Sew Healthy and Happy, which is a quilter survival guide to a healthy mind, body, and spirit. It is now available for pre-order on Amazon. Please visit healthyquilting.com for more information and follow Healthy Quilting on Instagram for weekly tips. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you. Next up, we have Linda Pearl.
Hi, I'm Linda Pearl from One Quilting Circle, and I'm coming to you this afternoon from Southern New Hampshire. I'm delighted to be participating in this week's Global Quilt Connection. I have sat on several guild program committees over the course of my quilting career, and I know what a difficult job it can be. Hopefully we've got some resources here that will help you out, and at the end of my presentation, there'll be contact information for you. I hope you enjoy your afternoon, and thank you for participating in the Global Quilt Connection. Ten Quilters You Should Know and Why is the first guild presentation that I developed, and it continues to be my most popular. It looks at the developments in the quilting industry set against the backdrop of what was going on in the United States, and it tells the story of pretty much a perfect storm of 10 quilters that each had a role to play in bringing us what we have today for an industry. It is fun, it's fast-paced, you will learn a lot, your guild will enjoy it. If You Give a Quilter a Challenge is my lecture/trunk show that deals with my love and fascination with quilt challenges over the course of my quilting career. It takes a look chronologically at the 25 or so and counting quilt challenges that I've participated in, run, judged, had some fun with, and this is a great program if you're looking for a way to kick off a challenge or get some enthusiasm for a challenge going through. Your guild will enjoy it, and I'll have a fun time talking about it. In my experience, a good guild presentation is one where your members come away feeling like they have learned something, but also that they have been entertained while they've been doing it. And that's something that I approach all of my guild presentations with. The copyright presentation takes a lighthearted look through scripts and role playing of some common events that are going to come across in the guild world, and then we stop and talk about the copyright implications. Why Do All My Quilts Look the Same is my introduction to color theory lecture with a companion workshop available to guilds afterwards. And we can certainly adapt that presentation and that idea to people working virtually. It basically takes one of the most complex topics in quilt making, which is color. It's the part that attracts us, it's the part that confuses us, it's the part that paralyzes us and helps us move through it to the point that we feel more confident with what we're buying. We're able to work with our stashes more effectively and efficiently, and it allows us to basically become more satisfied and fulfilled with working with our quilts.
Next up, we have Jennifer Rapacki.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jennifer Rapacki, coming to you from Denver, Colorado. These two quilts have one thing in common. The backgrounds look pieced, but aren't. The quilt with the 3 poppies has a pixelated background printed on fabric. The other quilt is 1-inch wide strips of fabric woven on the diagonal, which looks like pieced diamonds, but isn't. Even better, no Y seams. In my lecture, Creativity Unleashed, Modern Technology for Quilters, I share my quilting journey using computer tools, Photoshop Elements, Frax HD, a fractal app for the iPad, an electric quilt, along with info about inkjet printing on fabric. I also show quilts created with more traditional techniques of fabric weaving and reverse applique. Don't let the word computer design scare you off. Here is what one program chair wrote after my lecture. I was a little worried Jennifer's topic may be too technical for our guild members. Boy, was I wrong. Jennifer is a great speaker, and her slideshow plus trunk show was really engaging and fun. Everyone stayed interested and asked tons of questions. I think we all saw the possibilities for incorporating a lot of new ideas into our quilting. I would highly recommend Jennifer to any guild looking for a speaker who can open new creative doors for their members. I have been working with fabric for over 40 years and developed my computer skills during 20 years in the corporate world. In the 2000s, I decided to combine my two worlds. I started lecturing and teaching after my own guild asked me to talk about what I was doing with inkjet printing on fabric and with electric quilt. After the lecture, I thought, I bet other guilds would be interested in this too. So began my travels to quilt guilds and major quilt shows like Houston, Road to California, and Paducah. My workshops can be half-day, full-day, or multi-day. Sometimes I've taught a half-day computer and a half-day traditional technique. Visit my website for a complete list of lectures, workshops, and fees. I also have an on-demand video classroom at elearntoday.com, where I offer 3 video workshops, which are compilations of the workshops I teach live. Once larger groups are allowed, I will also be interested in traveling for in-person lectures and workshops again. Don't hesitate to contact me. I look forward to hearing from you.
Thank you so much, Jennifer. Next up, we have Birgit Ruotsala.
Hi, I'm Birgit Ruotsala, and today I'm so excited to be with you. First, I'd like to thank Lyric and Sue for putting together Global Quilt Connection. It's such a great resource for guilds and groups as we deal with new ways to stay connected with our quilt family. I've been sewing all my life, quilting for 20 years, and art quilting for the last 13 years. I enjoy offering lots of opportunities to fellow quilters. So what can I do for your guild? I offer Zoom meetings in a variety of ways so that everyone in your guild can enjoy the experience. I offer a variety of lectures, all of them filled with a little bit of humor and some great wisdom. I teach a lot of different techniques, as you can see, but my main focus is to make sure that everyone is learning and everyone is having a great time. Here are just a few of the classes I teach, from wacky paper dolls to learning new ways with old blocks to making portrait quilts of pictures of your favorite people. Whether it's a movie star like Betty White or your favorite sister, to putting your image on the fabric, to thread painting, to ending up with a very unique quilt. And if you don't have a photo of a favorite person in your life, how about an animal? Scrap bag mosaics is a great way to bust your stash. We work using traditional tile and mosaic ideas. Telling your story in a circle is all about using the mandala form to tell your story. This can be a 2 or a 5-day class on fused quilting. And you get to select all your favorite images. In addition to workshops and lectures, I also have an in-bag club. It's a 1-year membership, and we do everything from purses to all the things you carry in your purse. If you like Block of the Month programs, this one is for you. It's Green Bay Beauty, based on the colors of the Green Bay Packers, but if you're not a Packer fan, you can use your team's colors or make your quilt scrappy. You can take it as a 12-month program or 2 Zoom meetings. My main focus is to help you become the person or quilter you were meant to be and help you create. Thanks for listening, and I hope you'll go to my website, birgitsdesigns.com, for more details.
Thank you. Next up, we have David Sirota. There you are.
Here I am. Hey, everybody. Lyric and Sue, thank you so much for this. I have spent the last couple of months telling everybody I know that I'm going to be speaking to the entire world. This is very exciting. Also, for those of you who are wondering, yes, I'm wearing pants. I wonder how many of you can say the same thing. Anyway, I have a question to ask you. How many of you love paper piecing? And since I can't see everybody, I'm assuming not very many hands went up. And I can understand why. Paper piecing is an arduous, intricate, mind-blowing, mind-bending, headache-inducing, stress-inducing process, but we do it because we can achieve results that we can't achieve any other way. Well, I wasn't happy with that. So I set out to find a quicker, easier way to paper piece, and I did. And I've been teaching this for about 14 years, mostly locally, but I became part of the Mancuso show management faculty, and I have been traveling the country, and I've been to quite a few of your guilds, and I see quite a few familiar faces among the panelists. The quilt behind me is paper pieced, and it takes no time at all. This quilt right here, it's called So Many Triangles, So Little Time. It starts out with this one piece of paper. I don't even know if it's right side up. It starts out with one piece of paper, and this is what you get. And I am not going to tell you anything about my method or anything about the technique because it's a surprise. But I have addressed all of the things that have challenged us as paper piecers. How do you orient the next piece of fabric? How do you get it all to work right? How do you get the right side of the fabric facing out when you're finished, when everything you're doing is under the paper? And also, what happens when you're finished putting the whole thing together and you have an entire quilt filled with paper that you need to remove. I have addressed all of those issues, and there are people here who have taken my class, and all I can do is encourage you to go to my website, quiltmavendave.com. You'll see all of the classes I offer, and they are set up in a kind of order. Storm at Sea, believe it or not, is one of the most basic paper piecing patterns you can do. I like to teach that class first, and then we go all the way up to the very intricate version of a New York Beauty. Anyway, so that's what I do. And I also do a couple of lectures, and believe me, lecture is a very, very, I almost think inappropriate word for what I do. Basically, all we do is talk about, it's very interactive, and we talk about how crazy we are as quilters, and how people who are not quilters just simply do not understand us. And I like to talk about my journey, but also talk about your journey as quilters. And I end with hopefully a really good message that makes you feel better in your own skin and helps you value what you do a little more. Anyway, my classes are relaxed. You're in your cocoon. You're in that place you go to retreat. Everything you need is there. And for you program chairs, you don't have to worry about what flight I'm going to be on. Have I remembered everything? All that kind of stuff. It's very relaxed. It's still intimate. And the overwhelming response to the virtual classes is, I prefer this to a live class.
Thank you,
So,
David.
yes, thank you for shutting me up.
All right. Thank you very much, David Sirota. Next up, we have Sarah Ann Smith.
Hi, everybody. Hi, I'm Sarah Ann Smith, and I'm coming to you from my basement studio in very rural Hope, Maine, and it is also now my live online classroom. I'm known as an art quilter, but I love all quilts and I love fine workmanship, and I like to share that with my students so that your learning curve can be shorter and easier than mine. Let's take a look at some of the things that I can offer.
In 1998, I started quilting at the U.S. Embassy in Bolivia. In 2004, I made this quilt and launched my teaching career. I teach and lecture online as well as in person. All the information you need can be found on my website at the Workshops and Calendar tab.
For my online workshops, I use 3 cameras so students get the best view. One of me, one looking directly at the work surface, and another one that looks directly at the sewing machine.
And for a little bit of truth in teaching, this is what it actually looks like behind the scenes. My Quilting the Garden workshops are my most popular. The first one teaches you my collage process, and then you learn how to apply thread to bring the quilt to life. Students can then go home and apply what they've learned to creating their own original artworks. My workshops are all about technique and process, even when there's a project. I have a secret love of Hawaiian quilts and teach that as well. It's so much fun to see what students can do. I've taught mastering metallics and perfect bindings online, and students achieve the same fantastic results that they do at in-person classes. Threadwork Unraveled is an AQS bestseller, and the art of was written to celebrate a dream come true. I was selected as one of the inaugural Rising Stars with an exhibit of my artwork in Houston in 2017. I wanted to share with you the books and magazines where I've written articles or been published, and I was honestly absolutely stunned to see how much there is. You can watch me on The Quilt Show, Quilting Arts TV, and my very own video workshop, Art Quilt Design from Photo to Threadwork. But we all know that the very best part of quilting is the people. And for teachers, nothing beats smiling faces and thank you notes telling me that I've been able to share what I know with my students.
Thanks so much for visiting me here in Maine. Please get in touch through website and social media that are listed on the screen. I hope to see you in a workshop, both online and in person. Again, thanks for watching. Bye!
Thank you, Sarah Ann.
Thank
Next
you,
up,
Lyric and Sue.
you're welcome. Next up, Beth Sullivan, sorry.
Hi, I'm Beth Sullivan from Bellingham, Massachusetts, and I specialize in custom t-shirt quilts. I've been making t-shirt quilts and memory quilts for about 20 years, and I've made hundreds and hundreds of these quilts. The lecture was born when friends of mine who are amazing quilters would approach me and ask me for advice on making t-shirt quilts. It shocked me because they're not that hard, or at least I didn't think they were that hard, but my friends just needed help in design and figuring out what to do with unique materials. So I came up with this lecture idea, which starts with t-shirt quilt basics, and we talk about design and using regular, normal t-shirts and what you're going to do with those. We talk about interfacing, thin interfacing, thicker interfacing, woven interfacing, and what do you do with that, what are the appropriate spots. We talk about all sorts of different kinds of things and problems that you might encounter. Like, what do you do if there's a V-neck? Can it go in? Absolutely. What do you do if the shirt is falling apart into shreds, has holes in it or has two sides? What do you do if you have pajama pants? Can they go in? Sure. Jeans? No problem. Flannel shirts, button-down shirts, pockets, I've used them all. Ties, absolutely. I know many people make quilts out of ties. I use ties all the time in memory quilts. This one shirt has puff paint on it. Would you put it in your quilt? Some people would say no. I say sure, no problem. Baby clothes, adorable. Can it go into a quilt? Sure. Can you even get the feet in? Absolutely. How about a little dress? It's really cute. It's got little ribbon on it. No problem. This can go in too. Bibs, things that don't have a rectangular or square shape. Tote bag. Would you use this tote bag in the quilt? Would you think it was too thick? Well, my rule is that if it can be washed, sewn, and made to lie flat, it can go in. How about a T-ball hat? No problem. How about a well-used hat? No problem. This is going into one of my next quilts. So my lecture is available by Zoom. It's also available in person, and you can find me at BethSullivanDesigns.com. Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you, Beth. All right, next up we have Linda Sullivan.
Hi, everyone. This is Linda. I'm Cole. And we are Colorworks Designs. We've been in the business some 22 years. We're a husband and wife team. We also are fabric and pattern designers. And for the last 7 years, we've been traveling nationally, sharing and teaching our love of quilt making. And like so many, we've been also teaching virtually these last few months due to being grounded. And it's thrilling to have an opportunity now to actually present to you our virtual lectures and workshops that you can book us for. Before we do that, we want to play a short little video of the production values and visual enhancements that we offer you when you book Colorworks for your next event. Drawing on our 25 plus years in the television industry, we are committed to provide to you the most professional virtual experience technology will allow. We've updated all of our video and audio equipment, and we use a state-of-the-art streaming software that allows us to seamlessly integrate within the Zoom platform. Here's an example of one of our workshops showing a side-by-side view of the teacher demonstrating over the cutting table. We also use inset seams such as this for lectures and workshops so that the teacher and our presenter maintains eye contact throughout. It is our goal to provide to you the most excellent front row seat for every presentation and the best bird's eye view of our cutting stations and our sewing machines throughout. And now we'd love to share a video of our current virtual lectures and workshops. Our newest workshops include Strippin' and Stitchin' with Paintbox. This looks complicated, but it's not. Fun strip piecing followed by easy tips and tricks for working with triangles on the bias make this an exciting new workshop for students of all skill levels. Color Bugs and Curves is our newest 2-technique-in-1 class. No quarter-inch seams, no rules, and best of all, stress-free piecing as students slash and sew these cute color bug blocks together. Students will learn curve piecing as well with tips and tricks for a perfect no pucker curve. And speaking of curves, another popular workshop is Conquer Your Fear of Sewing Curves with the Cosmos block. Students combine wonky strip piecing with easy peasy curves to form this gorgeous 22-inch Cosmos block. Each one is a unique piece of art, but many combined together create a dynamic quilt. We also offer our fun and informative Got Color lecture. Linda and Carl draw on their 20-plus year experience in the arts and entertainment industries to share the basics of color theory and the importance of value in design to create dynamic color palettes for your next quilting project. And finally, our ColorWorks 1-hour trunk show takes guests through our crazy, colorful 20-plus year journey in the industry. Updated often to include our most current work and designs, there are loads of quilts for show and tell and guaranteed lots of laughs. So thank you so much for your time and consideration today. Our contact information is right below us there on the screen. You can contact us at colorworks@yahoo.com or go to our website at colorworks.com, select the workshop tab, and you can download a brochure and rate information. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Linda. Next up is Ricky Timms.
I think the biggest surprise of my life was becoming a quilter, and the second biggest surprise was becoming a quilt teacher. For the past 22 years, I've had the privilege to teach literally all over the world. In most recent years, I've been presenting live seminars. COVID is certainly making a difference, and it's great to be able to share my passions online with guilds like yours. All of the offerings on my 2020 and 2021 menu start with an overview of Lizzie Albright. She is the 10-year-old heroine in a new fantasy novel that I co-wrote with my friend Kat Bowser. The story is very much Harry Potter meets the Wizard of Oz meets Alice in Wonderland. But the unique thing is that the fantasy is launched when Lizzie discovers a 1930s Depression-era quilt, which she found in the attic of the McHale Mansion. Our goal for Lizzie is to get youngsters interested in quilting. The book is written for middle grades and young adults of all ages. I created a brand new line of vintage style fabrics with Ben Artex, and the pattern book and the quilt are used to make the Lizzie Albright quilt. Soon, I'm presenting a sewing curriculum that's just for children. I urge you to invite youngsters to join our online party. Lizzie will boost a new generation of quilters, and just think of the memories that you will make with the young ones in your life. I should also add that the Lizzie Albright quilt would be a great opportunity quilt or a great guild joint project. For the main course, you get to choose one of two topics. First is 11 cool things every quilter should know. You'll be amazed and astonished at the simple surprises that I have to share. There are tons of aha moments, and honestly, most folks go away saying, I sure wish I knew that 20 years ago. If you have an appetite for something a bit more collegiate, I offer the music in my quilt. This discussion is fun and entertaining, but it's also very scholastic. You will learn about the elements of art and the principles of design and see how they relate to quilting, while I'm playing musical tidbits that demonstrate how these things parallel the compositional devices found in creating music. And I won't let you leave without dessert, so a little musical performance of some kind will conclude each presentation. Contact me through info@rickytimms.com for a fee schedule and my availability.
Thank you so much, Ricky. Next up, we have Debbie Wendt.
Hi, I'm Debbie Wendt. I've combined my passion for teaching, sewing, and quilting that is, well, it was truly on the go, Wendt Quilting. That's my name, W-E-N-D-T. With the hard stop from COVID, I too have turned to Zoom and online learning. I've already been using cameras for those close-up steps and demos in my classroom. I've just turned it to online. I have 4 lectures, trunk shows, PowerPoints, kind of all the same, that I would like to share with you today. First, Wendt Quilting, Journey of a Quilter. I started as a home ec teacher. I've been a long arm quilter, I've worked in quilt shops, and I'm now a designer of patterns and tools, including brilliant bindings, Hexamajig, and Hexamajig Junior. Second, teaching the world to quilt. I had the privilege of living in Cairo, Egypt for 8 years. Travel with me while I take you to the places I've taught in Egypt, as well as Cambodia and Vietnam. It's been an honor to teach women how to quilt to help empower them. Third, Egyptian tent makers applique, like you see here behind me. While living in Egypt, I had the honor and the privilege of knowing the artisans known as the tent makers. The tent makers do this beautiful applique work that are used as tents and in ceremonies. I'll share you stories of when I lived there and show you the pieces that I purchased while living in Egypt. Fourth, last, and certainly not least, bindings, a world of option. I'll take you through an array of binding styles to help you finish your quilts, from choosing the fabric to the binding that best looks good on your quilts. Bindings are brilliant. As I mentioned, or I may not have mentioned, I can also add any workshops for additional learning opportunities, including making a little applique piece like the tent makers, maybe twirl a tool using my brilliant bindings or any of the tools or patterns I've designed. You can find me on my website, wendtquilting.com, under Facebook at the same name, Wendt Quilting, and I do 2 tips every Tuesday on my blog, debbiewendt.wordpress.com. Thank you for your consideration and be well.
Thank you so much, Debbie. Next up, we have Kellie Willey.
Hi, everybody. Hi, everybody. I'm Kellie Willey from Sacramento, California. And I bet you can guess what I'm excited about. That's right. I make miniature quilts. I know you've heard that they're hard. In fact, I hear people say it's harder to make than a big quilt or it takes longer. Well, I'm here to tell you that that is not true. And in my lecture, Little Quilts, No Big Deal, I'm going to take you through step by step the techniques and tricks on how to make a great little quilt. I have a couple other lectures as well. I do a lecture on how to reduce quilts down, you know, your patterns that you have, stacks and stacks of. I'm going to teach you how to miniaturize them. And you're going to get those quilts done in, oh my gosh, a quarter of the time you would normally take to do those quilts. I'm super comfortable doing virtual lectures. I'd love to see you in person as well. I have several workshops. The Guild can host it where you pay me a flat fee, or you can have me host it on my platform, which is Zoom, and then you advertise it and your quilters come to my website and register for the class and pay the fee. That's perfect for those guilds that maybe don't have the big groups, or if you've got 8 friends that want to get together and have me and do a retreat, that'd be awesome. My workshops are fun, they're relaxing, and I'm going to tell you the truth, there are no quilt police. So I am not going to make you make a perfect block. If you want to learn that, I'll teach you. But what I want to do instead is get you comfortable with making a miniature quilt. You already know how to sew, cut, and piece. So I guarantee you can make a little quilt. And most people get the quilts done in my class. If not all the blocks, sometimes the quilt top. So here's one of my samples of my workshop. This is called Little 4-Patch. It's super easy for any level. If you're a beginner quilter and you take my class, you'll probably learn quite a bit. But if you're an advanced quilter, oh, this is Little Windows. You'll be able to hone those skills that already make you a great quilter. This is another workshop that I offer called Little Crisscross. Can you tell I like novelty fabric? And I love putting quilts on point. I think it just makes them more interesting. This quilt right here is called Little Buttons. With this one, you actually use all those fancy stitches on your machine. You know, the ones we paid the big money for and don't use. And it's a quilt as you go. So by the time you get the blocks finished, you're practically done with the quilt. This is Little 4-Patch Plus. Guess what you use to make this? That's right, all those little fancy pre-cuts that you've been buying for years. Here's a great quilt for that. So again, if you're interested in having me come to your guild, you can look at my website, which is littlequiltcreations.com. You can email me personally at littlequiltcreations@gmail.com. And I would love to come and virtually meet you or in person. Hope to see you soon on Zoom. Thank you.
Next up, we have Valerie Wilson.
There we go. As Lyric said, my name is Valerie Wilson. I'm especially well known for my fabric portraits, as seen here and here. But when I'm not doing portraits, quite often I'm doing nature kind of work. But my most popular class is facial expressions, where I take students by the hand from choosing their own photograph through to the final personalized fabric portrait. There's some related classes, the Eyes Have It, focusing on the eye area, posterizing your photograph, bringing out the values, and Smiles and Pearly Whites, and that last one named by my students. These are on-demand classes, but can also be done virtually. The latest class in my lineup is Introduction to Portraits. This is a more basic portraits class. Everybody does the same portrait, the girl with the pearl earring, and I provide the pattern. And it's great for those who, having problems here, just want to do a portrait but aren't too sure about using their own photograph. And this is soon to be out in a book. People and Places, Landscapes with a Twist, where the focus is actually on the people in the landscapes rather than the landscape itself. Bouquetlicious is a fun little art quilt, specially designed for beginner art quilters. We go over color, design, symmetry, balance, and focal point in this one. Creating your own fabric is a really fun one. Start out with things found around the house, which is perfect for this time. And then we go into how can you create your own custom stamps, and ultimately, how can you create your own custom fabric? Get a lot of interaction going in the classes. I've been teaching online for the last 2.5 years. And I do lectures as well as workshops. Photographing your quilts is one that is perfect for those who want to have their photos for a juried quilt show. If you'd like to follow my fiber art journey, I'm on Facebook at Creating Fiber Art with Valerie Wilson. Fabric Faces group, especially for those people interested in portraits. And I'm on Instagram at Valerie Wilson 95. I'd like to thank you for your time today and your interest.
Thank you so much, Valerie. Next up, we have Nanette Zeller.
Hi, I'm Nanette Zeller. I'm a mixed media textile artist from North Carolina. My art is nature-inspired, uses a lot of thread painting, applique, and other mixed media embellishments. My work has been featured in several magazines, and you may have seen me recently on Quilting Arts TV. I have been teaching most of my adult life, and I've been working in the quilting industry, self-employed, for over 14 years. Over the years, I've created what I call my large toolbox of ideas and skills that I use to create my art quilts. I enjoy sharing this information. It's my mission as an instructor to encourage my students to experiment and play, create what they love, and develop their own artistic style. I am currently building an online collection of textile-based art classes that are open for individual enrollment. These courses and others are available for virtual group instruction. They are also available in shorter versions as lectures. My group instruction is live with pre-recorded how-to videos. This allows me to provide interactive attention as well as the highest quality instruction with fewer possibilities for equipment glitches. My online classes and lectures provide an up-close and detailed view of my artwork and processes. They were developed with a beginner in mind, but with enough tips and tricks to pique the interest of the more advanced textile artists. My role as an instructor is not just to show you how to, but to inspire you to take it further. I encourage my students to take what they've learned in class and run with it in their own creative way. My website is nanettesews.com. When you visit my site, you'll see a link on the menu bar that will take you to more information about my currently available online courses open for individual enrollment. A click on the Lectures and Workshops tab will take you to more information about my group presentations. When you're on this page, please consider downloading the file with my rates, contact, and contract information. You can also contact me using my online form on the website. I want to thank you for your time today, and I hope you enjoy your creative journey.
That is our presentation for today, but we do have time to answer a few questions. So if you would please, in your chat, type your questions. I'm going to turn the mic over to Sue Bleiweiss if she has any questions that have shown up in the chat. Teachers, if you specifically want to answer the question, do the wave at the camera thing and unmute yourself, and we'll call on your name and then you can talk. What do we got?
So I don't see any questions coming through. Let's see.
All right.
So it looks like Deneen is saying, not sure how this will work with a guild. Well, Deneen, I think it's worked out pretty well with lots of guilds. There's quite a few teachers here who have actually taught their classes via Zoom to a guild. So maybe I can get one of them to talk. Maybe Meg, would you like to address that?
Well, I do strictly lectures, so I can't answer as to workshops. And what I am finding is that a lot of guilds are very near the beginning of the learning curve, but they're jumping in, they're trying it. And I think most people who do this work will do it, a practice session with them, a short practice session, give advice. I just urge people to try it. And there's also an organization, I'm trying to remember, Quilt Classes Online, I think it's called. Renee Merrill is offering to teach guilds how to do this, and they actually help host the first time they do it. So there is more and more information out there, and the guilds that I find that I'm working with are really appreciating it a lot. And I think there is that learning curve. I was like, the second time I did a guild lecture, they said, well, we're not sure we have the bandwidth. We're just going to have everybody not have their picture up and just have a blank. And I said, please don't do that, because even though it's Zoom, I see their faces, I'm taking in the energy, I'm talking to them. So I think we're all on this curve, but it can be quite wonderful. So I just encourage them to, maybe they know other guilds that have done it, but don't give up. I would love to hear some teachers who are doing workshops talk about their.
I'd like to jump in. I've taught a bunch of classes on Zoom now and find it to be different from live teaching, but it has some great advantages. Every teacher is going to do this differently, but most of us will provide a Zoom link for the class, and you log on the day of the class, and they will have close-up cameras to show you their sewing so that you get a view like you're right on their lap. You get a much better view than you would standing in a crowd around the teacher's sewing machine at class. For lectures, everybody has a front row seat. Most of the teachers have taken really good photos of their quilts and detail shots, and they show it big on their screen and your screen so that everybody sees everything really clearly. You at home are in the comfort of your own space. You can put your feet up. You don't have to wear pants, but we appreciate it if you do. And you have the opportunity to work with your own materials at your own home. I've heard really good feedback from my students as well as from many other teachers and their students. Some of us also have pre-recorded videos. I combine my classes with an online class just for you guys, and you have the videos for 2 days so that you have more content than we can get to during the Zoom class. Every teacher has practiced this. Every teacher has worked hard. We've purchased more equipment than we ever thought we need. At least it's not luggage this time, right? We have practiced with friends. We've done demonstration classes with our beta testers to provide the best possible experience that we can for you.
Thanks, Lyric. A couple of questions. Ricky, there's a question for you about if you have content, virtual content available to offer right now. Meaning, are you someone booked today? Are you ready?
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yep.
Okay. I have online classes at letsquilttogether.com. There are a limited amount of classes there right now. I'm on September 13th, I'm starting an online class for the Lizzie Albright quilt that will run for 15 weeks. And there will be 50 short videos and tutorials on just the Lizzie Albright quilt. But I'm with Meg Cox. Presenting online is not bad. And for anyone who is concerned about the difficulty of it, let the difficulty be on the presenter's end, because the students just have to log on and click a button and you're there. So it's not quite the learning curve that I think that you might think it would be for a whole group seeing something at home. But I'm looking to do a lot of even my seminars online, because that's what I do. So I'm ramping up to do that.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Another question we have here is, do teachers work with multiple guilds at once? And I'll just answer that in general. Some teachers do, some teachers don't. So if you're interested in that, you'll need to reach out to the individual teachers, and they can answer that question for you. Everybody is working independently, so everybody has their own processes to go through.
We had comments from Sheri, then Beth, then Sarah.
Hi, everyone. I just wanted to add, Lyric, I think everything that you said about workshops going through Zoom was totally spot on. I also just wanted to add another benefit is we as teachers can actually see what the students are working on. I know for myself, I tell students it's probably best for them to be on a laptop or a tablet so they could see large, at their sewing machine while I'm teaching a workshop. But we can also have the ability to add in mobile devices so you can get right up and personal on your work. So if you have questions, I can work with you one-on-one, just like we would in an actual class.
Beth, you had a comment?
Yes, I wanted to put on my program chair hat for a moment. I am the program chair for my Quilt Guild, and for 2021. For the poor 2020 people, the moment all this hit, we had to cancel everything. We had to cancel our guild show, which was canceled 2 days before the show was supposed to happen in March. We had to cancel all the lectures for the rest of the year. We had all of a sudden suddenly had to learn Zoom and all of these things. In 2021, we actually decided as the program chairs that we were going to take this opportunity to do something new. So we are converting, hopefully permanently going forward, our normal in-person workshops at least 1 or 2 a year to be Zoom only. We're picking like either winter when it's generally too cold, or summer when it's generally too hot. And we're going to take this opportunity to have speakers from other parts of the country and of the world that we normally would not get a chance to talk to. So it's a wonderful opportunity for guilds to be able to do this. We're also only picking for 2021 speakers who can do, other than those two, who can do in-person or Zoom. So we won't have to cancel anything.
Thank you, Beth. I think this is actually a really wonderful opportunity. There are so many people who are unable to travel, or guild members who don't want to drive in the dark at night if you're a night guild. And there's wonderful possibilities going forward of having a Zoom lecture combined with a live lecture, and continuing to offer the online thing, the online opportunities for those that will open up a lot of our classes and offerings to a much wider audience. Sarah Ann Smith, you had a comment you wanted to make.
Yes, Bobby Penniman asked about having a sort of a preview session so that students can gather supplies. And what I wanted to say is one of the best things about teaching online is you will never hear, oh, I have the perfect fabric, but it's at home. But what I've noticed with the 6-hour workshops particularly is that it's a little bit harder to pay attention for students and to stay engaged online. And we don't have the interaction of wandering around the room and looking at people's work tables. And so I've been thinking specifically about splitting some of my full day workshops into 2 sessions, perhaps separated by a couple days or a week. So for all of you out there who are wondering about that, just ask the teachers. I think a lot of us are really flexible. We're absolutely willing to work with you. And if you can sign in, I had one student who helped me a lot on the tech side, but she couldn't tear herself away from the computer, and so she didn't do anything in class. Others got just as much done in class, so it's a personality thing. So I think it'd be really wonderful to be able to break it up. We don't have to inundate you with all this information in one fell swoop. We can spread it out, and then you'll get even more out of it.
Right. Thank you, Sarah. David, you had something to add to that?
Yes, actually, I found that with the Zoom classes, I have 3 cameras, one on me, which is obviously the most important one, but then I also have a close-up of my sewing machine and a close-up of my workstation where I trim and lay things out. So everyone gets the same view. There are people who don't like crowding in. So when you ask people to gather around your machine, there are people who are naturally going to stand in the back. They just don't like being part of that. Everyone gets the same view. And I've noticed that in the beginning, there's no stress for the students, for the participants. They didn't have to fight traffic. They didn't have to worry about last minute things. They just had to go to their sewing room. And again, like I said, it's their safe haven. That's where people go to escape. So it's very safe. And I encourage leaving your mic on, not muting yourself through the entire class. Even though there are sewing machines going, there are sewing machines going in live classes. And by muting yourself, it sort of cuts down on the interaction. When the mics are open for the whole class, people just start talking. And I find that with a 6-hour class, it flies by because we talk about all sorts of stuff. And people don't get nervous by me walking around and looking at what they're doing. All of you instructors have found this. You stop at someone who's doing a great job, but you don't say anything, and they look up and say, "What's wrong?" That doesn't happen on Zoom. It just doesn't happen. It is, I think it's probably, I think Zoom is here to stay. Online is here to stay. Yeah, and it is a great opportunity.
Right. Brandy, you had something next, then Hollis.
Yeah, hi everyone. I saw a great question in the feed there. How is one of your lectures incorporated into a Zoom Guild meeting? I just wanted to mention a really positive scenario that happened for Guild program chairs to consider. Everything for me was canceled in 2020, of course. And so there was one Guild who had booked me for 1 lecture and 2 workshops. And on the, planning of the lecture, they decided that they would actually do my lecture 3 times in one day at 10 a.m., 1 p.m., and 7 p.m. And they paid me 3 times, which was a big bonus for me, but they didn't have to pay for my flight anymore or my lodging or my food. And I eat a lot. So anyway, so it was really a good bonus for the Guild because the Guild members were able to watch at any time that they wanted to. And for a Guild of over 300 people, you could get over 100 people at a lecture, just 25 at a time, and it would really work out great. So that was just something great that's a good option for Guilds.
All right, thank you. Hollis, quick comment, and we are almost out of time, so
Okay. I just wanted to say that one of the things that my students have said is they're actually learning more in my Zoom classes because a teacher goes around to all of the different students and talks to them individually. But when it's on Zoom, we're talking to them individually, but the rest of the class can hear it because I also am like David. I ask people to not mute. And so they say they almost feel like they're eavesdropping, but at the same time, they're learning so much more because they're hearing what the teacher says to each and every student. And I think that's an amazing advantage to the student because they don't have to listen if they don't want to, but if they want to, they're hearing the teacher's comments for each and every student.
I have the exact same experience in my design classes. They say that they're learning more hearing the critiques for each individual student. Thank you all so much for coming. We appreciate the time that you've taken for this. This is recorded. The link will be up at globalquiltconnection.com. Remember, there is also a downloadable PDF and a list of all of the teachers for all of the events that has the teachers' direct links to their website and direct links for their emails. We encourage you to please contact each teacher if you are interested in them, ask them specifics, look at their website first. You know, everybody has a lot of information up on their website. You can get so much more information there. So teachers, let's wave goodbye and thank everybody for coming. Thank you so much. We'll see you next week at the next Meet the Teacher. You can find recordings of previous Meet the Teacher webinars on this YouTube channel as well as at globalquiltconnection.com. There you can also download information for all of the teachers with their email and website links. Thank you for watching today. Sue Bleiweiss was the mastermind behind this idea, and I am Lyric Montgomery Kennard. If you subscribed to this channel, you'll get notices for 3 upcoming Meet the Teacher events where you can find teachers ready to teach virtually live for your Quilt Guild.